This is the English version of my YouTube channel Pulse Multimedia. I release my stories in Russian and English. I myself do the translation for the video, so you can contact me in the comments not only in Russian, but also in English. My channel is dedicated to electronics and devices that you can assemble with your own hands. I hope you will be interested. Hello guys everyone. Today we will talk with you about the proper use of the luggage compartment in large minivans. This trunk looks very big, but in real life, we cannot use it completely. If you put things up to the ceiling, you get a mess. When I open the back door, all my things will fall on the road. To conveniently transport goods, I usually install an additional shelf in my minibuses. This is a very convenient design. It divides the luggage compartment space into 2 floors. You can put things on top and bottom. In addition, with the help of it you can create a bed in the car. Or, for example, to transfer a very long load. I had such a shelf in my previous Volkswagen Caravelle. The basis of the structure is a steel frame. On top is a sheet of chipboard. Today we will make a shelf for a Peugeot Traveller car. I will show you 2 designs. You can make a metal structure. It is strong, but it is difficult to pull it out of the car. There is a second, more versatile option. This is a transformer shelf made of wood. You can easily disassemble it and quickly pull it out of the car. This can be done not only near a country house. The shelf can be dismantled in the city or by stopping on the road while traveling. In order for a wooden shelf to be assembled and disassembled many times, all screws must be screwed metal to metal. Safety matters a lot. The shelf must be fixed to the car body. The Peugeot Traveller is very suitable for this. There are bootload luggage tie-down hook here. The tie-down hook can be removed out and the shelf fixed with 10 mm bolts instead. The thickness of the insulation on the floor is 4 cm plus carpet. In order for the shelf to have a well-thought-out reliable design, it is necessary to create a project. To make a wooden shelf, I will use sanded plywood 18 mm thick. Vertical racks made of this material will withstand a very large load. But the shelf must be strengthened so that it does not bend. I reinforced the rigidity of the shelf with 2 metal profiles 40 by 20 mm. The crossbars are not fixed to the shelf in any way, but simply fit into the grooves. They will not fall anywhere because they will be pressed from above by the shelf. Any wooden structure needs to be reinforced geometrically. If this is not done, then the shelf may swing left and right. Usually in this case, you can use the crossbar. It will add rigidity to the whole structure. Unfortunately, in this case, this solution does not suit us. It is necessary to keep the possibility of transporting a long load under the shelf. If I want to transport long boards or pipes, I will lay them on the floor of my car. In this case, the vertical stiffener will interfere with me. It is necessary to strengthen the rigidity of the shelf in another way. I decided to install additional steel fasteners, 2 pieces on each side. The thickness of the metal is 2 mm. It turns out a fairly strong connection that keeps the shelf from lateral displacement. All connecting elements must be able to be repeatedly assembled and disassembled. If you fasten screws into a tree, then it will be unreliable. Such a connection will not withstand several assembly-disassembly cycles. Therefore, all steel screws must be screwed into the metal. How to do this if our shelf is wooden? All my screws will be attached to the steel angles. To do this, I fix nuts on each metal plate. Yes, of course you could use electric welding, but I chose another, more convenient way. The thickness of the metal plates is small. Therefore, in this case, it is very convenient to use soldering. This is easily done with a special aluminum solder. This is a great way to connect not only aluminum structures, but also steel parts. The solder is heated with a conventional gas torch flame lighter. This is very easy to do. Even an inexperienced master will cope with this. What method of fastening small metal parts is much more convenient and easier than electric welding? This solder is sold on AliExpress. Please see the link in the video description. I really love this solder. It is easy to work with him. When you heat it up, it spreads itself like water. This effect is called surface tension. This connection is very strong. Reliability is the same as with electric welding. After I soldered all the nuts, I got very comfortable parts. These are metal corners with threads for screws. With their help, I will assemble the shelf. Such a connection can be assembled and disassembled many times. This plate will secure the shelf to the car body. I use countersunk screws so that they do not stick out inside the trunk. The side wall of the trunk has a complex geometry. How to copy it? To solve this problem, I use a regular sheet of A4 office paper. It is necessary to cut an exact template that repeats the bend line. With this template, I can easily copy a complex geometry line onto a wood panel. It will be my future shelf. Now it needs to be cut. I use a regular electric jigsaw. I recommend using a narrow blade. It will be easier for them to repeat the bend. I then used a finishing sander to make the wood panels smooth. Last, fitting inside the trunk of a car. We check that everything is fine. Next, let's start painting. Two side racks are ready for my shelf. Metal fasteners will ensure the rigidity of the structure. This fastener allows the shelf to be disassembled and reassembled many times. If the shelf had a metal base, then it would be impossible to disassemble it. Now I have to drill holes for the mounting screws. Please note that I painted the shelf only from the ends. The carpet will be on top. Therefore, unpainted areas will not be visible. This allows you to significantly reduce paint consumption. I use a special coating that I bought at a hardware store. On the one hand, there is a soft black and white pile. On the other hand, the rubber base. Just use the sharpest knife possible. I put the shelf on top of the carpet. She will serve as a template for me. To fix the carpet on a wooden base, I use reinforced tape for carpeting. You don't need a lot of tape. A few pieces distributed over the entire surface are enough. Please note that there are a lot of holes in the shelf, but they will not be visible. The carpet will be on top. No need to stick tape around the holes. This will allow you to bend the edge of the carpet and unscrew the fastening screws. It is possible that with sharp turns of the car, the shelf will still tilt a little. I glue a thin strip of carpet to the end of the shelf. This will protect the plastic trim of the car from scratches. Now everything is ready. It remains to fix the shelf in the trunk. I pulled out the bootload luggage tie-down hook. As spacers, I used several nuts with a diameter of 12 mm. Shelf racks are securely fastened to the floor of the car with 10 mm bolts. Please note that I painted the bolts and metal plates black. How will it look neater? After I fixed the struts, they still have free play to the left and right, but it's not scary. When I install a wooden panel on top, the shelf will become as strong and motionless as possible. I put stiffeners. These are two steel profiled pipes 40 by 20 mm. They do not need to be fixed, as the shelf will press them from above. The last step is to install the shelf itself. See, the whole structure wobbles left and right? But it's okay. When I tighten 16 screws, the shelf will become strong and motionless. Okay, it's all over now. Wooden shelf is ready. It remains only to glue the carpet. Thanks to this wonderful shelf, twice as many things will fit here. They will lie neatly, instead of a pile up to the ceiling. Now in the trunk it is easier to keep order. For everything there is a place. But this is not the only function of such a shelf. With its help, you can transport long loads without pulling the seat out of the car. But for this we need one more small construction. The Peugeot Traveller has a very soft rear seatback panel. I would not advise putting something heavy here that could damage the seats. Therefore, when I transport a long load, I need it not to touch the seats. Some other support is needed. To solve this problem, I came up with one simple design. For example, I need to move long boards or a small closet. There may be completely different tasks. A long load must be supported by something. I don't want to lean on the seats so as not to damage them. We need some simple design that will be easy to assemble and disassemble, without the use of screws and nails. Quickly dismantled and put in the trunk, to keep this thing from taking up space. Now I will show you what I came up with. Here is such a slightly funny but very comfortable bench transformer. It will hold a huge weight. It can be used to carry long loads. But that's not all. You can use it as a regular bench when you go camping. It can be easily assembled to sit on the banks of the river and watch the evening sunset. Or maybe you were fishing. When they were about to go home, the bench was quickly dismantled and put into the car. Simply and easily. The shelf is installed in regular Peugeot rails. This distance between the uprights exactly matches the distance between the rails. Under load, the bench is very stable. A long load is leaning on it, not leaning on the backs of the seats. Pay attention to a very important advantage. This bench is completely disassembled and disappears into the bowels of the car. It just disappears without a trace. Now I don't have to pull out the seats when I want to carry a long load. I just fold the seat backs and put the load on the shelf and bench. Please note that the height of the shelf and bench is the same. Therefore, there is no problem. It is enough to lower the back of one or all seats. But that's not all. Now you can sleep in the car. It is enough to put 6 wooden slats and throw a mattress on top. It makes a great big bed. Please note that I did not lose the second row of seats. I hope you understand that I did not want to complicate the design. The challenge was to make it cheap and practical. I hope I succeeded. When the second row seats are moved as far back as possible, the bed here is 157 centimeters. This is very good. This is quite enough for children to tumble here on the pillows. If the second row seats are moved forward as far as possible, then the length of the bed is 178 centimeters. It's already a long distance. 2 adults can sleep here. Well, if you need even more space, you can lower the seat backs. Then the length of our bed becomes about 3 meters. This is a lot. You can sleep very comfortably. It is important to note that in the lower part we have a lot of space left. Here you can put a huge amount of luggage and various things. It is very comfortable. Of course, there may be skeptics among my viewers. They will say that it all looks cheap and primitive. In fact, this solution is very practical. Of course, it is not intended to be used every day. This is a makeshift bed for a summer camping trip or 2. These boards are very cheap. When you get to your destination, you can take these boards out of the car and use them as firewood. At the end of the trip, we will not have extra items in the car. There will be only a shelf and a bench that disappears in the car without a trace. We have finished the wooden shelf theme. Now let's talk about another option. It will be a very similar shelf but with a metal base. I used a square steel pipe measuring 40 by 20 millimeters. All connections are rigidly fixed by electric welding. This design has a big advantage over a wooden shelf. The frame is very strong and reliable, but there is also a small problem. If you are on a journey, then you will not be able to disassemble and pull out this shelf. Please note that all these shelves must be fixed to the car body. This is necessary so that during emergency maneuvers this shelf does not fly into your head. The height of this design is the same as that of a wooden shelf. If I fold down the seat backs, I can carry long loads or create a bed here. To do this, it is enough to assemble my transformer bench. This is a very convenient solution. I can easily and quickly change the interior of the car for any task. This concludes my review. I hope it was interesting for you and you got some useful information. I have a lot of useful videos about Peugeot Traveler on my channel. Subscribe and write comments in English and Russian. I'm interested in your opinion. Put likes, I will be pleased. Goodbye.